Carl?
Yeah, sorry, I'm here.
Yeah, we're here. Okay, Bob?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Cliff?
Yes.
Okay, I'm here. So we do have a quorum. Thank you. Item 2, open participation. We have a request from Bill Parks. Is Bill with us? Meredith, you want to inform the commission then?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking for Bill. So Mr. Parks called me a couple weeks ago, asking about if we would like to consider accepting a parcel from the Boys and Girls Club. It's a small parcel up off of Janelle Drive, and it's actually Zero Knollwood. From looking at the maps, it looks like there's a stream on it and some wetlands potentially. So I don't know, I've never gone through this process before, but I thought I'd at least bring it to you guys for a brief discussion on if we want to consider taking it on. I briefly talked to Shanna Reed about this potential, and there's we would have to jump through some hoops to get it accepted by the city council. But I think it's a good idea, but I always think conserving land is a good idea, but it's not, I don't know if it's great for the city. It's not contiguous, I don't think, with other conservation areas. I need to do a little bit more research and do a site visit, I guess. Does anyone have any thoughts, experience?
Well, we have accepted land from other offers, and I think a site visit is the first step. Yes,
Oh, we have accepted land?
I think so.
Yeah. I know a lot of times a land trust will be involved and will hold the conservation restriction, but somebody else owns it. So, yeah. I guess I'll can do a
Colleen?
site visit and then.
Colleen would know.
I don't know that we've ever accepted it since I've been working here, that we've ever actually accepted land. We've put land in trust before, but not accepted land donated back to the city.
Oh, okay.
So we definitely have to do some research into that before we, go much further, obviously.
Okay. Anyone else?
I guess I'll just add that it seems worth looking into, at least, in that that seems like a worthwhile possibility.
Yeah, I agree.
It's only, what, 1.2 acres. So it's not a big area.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's set up a site visit
Okay.
and start with that,
Okay.
if that's acceptable to the commission. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay.
Yeah, and
All
if
right.
maybe Bill will come later. I sent him the Zoom link, but
Okay, we'll see. All right.
okay.
Thank you. Okay, item 3, public hearings, NOIs. A is for, again, Tacoma Country Club. Can they're requested a continuance until September 28, 2021. We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
second.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second.
All in favor? Carl,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Cliff. Cliff?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. Item B is 898 Southampton Road. Again, mobile home park improvements. This applicant, and it also requests continuance until September 28th meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second
I'll
it.
second.
Okay. Carl,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Cliff.
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes as well. Thank you. Item C is 1515 Granville Road, Springfield Water and Sewer Commission.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to recuse
Yes.
myself.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, we did do a site visit out there with the applicant and the engineers. So I saw Melissa somewhere. Melissa, do you want to just recap our site visit?
Sure, thank you. For the record, Melissa Cody from Ty and Bond on behalf of Springfield Water and Sewer. On August 17th, members from Springfield Water and Sewer, AECom, Ty and Bond, City's Conservation Agent Meredith Bornstein, and Chairman Joe conducted a site visit. We essentially walked the limits of the proposed project, the total limit of work relative to the entire scope of the project, but particularly with interest in work relative to Cook Brook, the perennial stream that flows through their property, identifying where work would be closest to the stream, as well as where erosion sedimentation controls would be installed, and mitigation areas. We also took the opportunity to have a brief tour of one of the existing slow sand filters that is to be abandoned. So we accessed the underground portion just so that the area could be viewed. It's essentially a concrete walled, ceilinged area with sand filter media accumulated at the base. And I don't think any real concerns were raised during the site visit, but if there have been any follow-up thoughts since that time, I'd be happy to address them.
Okay, Meredith, anything to add?
No, we got, the city assistant engineer reviewed the project for stormwater. He had some comments. They were addressed by the applicant. And then he sent an email around, Jeremy Siegel sent an email around today signing off. There's a few things that need to get done prior to construction, but they really weren't, they're not able to get in there and do test pits over the existing clear wells because they have to demolish it first. So he had a kind of a list of things that they were gonna do before or during construction. And yeah, I don't know, it's pretty straightforward. It's definitely permittable under the regs, and I didn't have any, I think the site visit cleared up any questions I had.
I too was satisfied from the site visit as well. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I'll just reiterate what I probably said when we met last, and that's that we've always had great response, great results when we work with the Springfield Water and Sewer and when we work with Melissa from Ty and Bond. So I also have no issues with this project.
Okay, thank you. Other comments or questions? Any comments or questions from the audience concerning this particular project? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carl,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. Meredith, you want to put up the conditions?
Yes, 1 second. Can you see them, David?
Yes.
I will. So let me scroll to the special conditions. Right, these are all our standard conditions
Yes,
that are applicable to every project. And here we go.
okay.
Oh, sorry. Back to the SWIP.
Okay. There is a SWIP for this, is there?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so we'll check off 50, 51. A DEP sign, yes. Restriction language,
I don't think they need that. If they've done that on their other projects.
Right.
And this isn't going to change hands, you know, so
Right.
it's not
That's- right, so we won't need this one.
right. So we don't have the wildlife habitat.
Okay, yeah, 55 applicant letter, yes. Contractor letter, yes. Excavator copy of order conditions, yes. Construction sequence. That's in the NOI.
It probably is, but we'll circle it and then I can just rip it out of the
Okay,
notice of intent, or they can get it to me prior to
Right.
if it's not in there.
okay. 59, yes, erosion controls.
Oops.
Oops, yeah, pre-construction meeting, I think that's probably good.
Yeah, I'll run out and check their erosion controls before they get going.
Okay. And then 61, contact information, yes.
Yes. Sorry. I'm trying to write and scroll. So
Sorry.
forgive me. Forgive me for being slow.
No, that's okay.
That's why you have two hands.
Yeah.
All right, 48-hour notice, yes.
Yep.
There's no Title V.
Right.
There's no water quality cert for this one, is there?
So one of my comments were potentially would be to do a couple signs out there for no mowing where they're going to be doing the mitigation areas. I mean, that was in the notice of intent anyways. You know, part of the mitigation for working in the riverfront was plantings
Okay,
and not mowing along Cook Brook. I mean, it's a pretty small, narrow area, but any no mow zone
okay,
would be, I think would be helpful to their grounds people to
Yeah.
have some signage out there. We haven't done that in the past
Mm.
and they've done a good job sticking
Yeah.
with it, but I don't know, a couple signs wouldn't hurt.
okay, let's do that then.
Okay. So maybe just the mitigation area has, or there's two mitigation areas. Well, there's many mitigation areas out there for all the stuff they've been doing, but there's actually 4 little areas. So maybe one sign for each, or do we want to put signs at each corner?
Maybe one sign for each would be sufficient.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
Yeah, okay,
So 4 signs,
Right.
and I'll just specify one at each corner or one at each area.
okay.
And they'll say no mow zone. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all standard stuff I can
Sure.
go through.
Okay, good. All right, there's no comp storage,
Right?
okay. There's no temporary basins,
No, they might need to do some temporary basins during construction because they're going to be doing some potential dewatering. So that's just, you know, during construction, they build these little basins to hold stormwater or dewatering water or anything before it would leave the site to be treated. So,
all right, so let's circle that one.
oops.
All
Oh,
right,
there we go.
tag trees.
There's no trees to be cut.
Okay. Permanent basins,
No permanent
No.
basins, right?
right,
It's just on the underground storage, the underground storage infiltration tank. So
Right.
don't need that one. How about the, I never know about these. If they don't have, I mean, this is like an active, they probably don't use salt anyways,
Right.
because it's a water treatment facility.
All right, so let's skip those.
Okay. Yeah,
Low flow, they're not affecting, we're not doing anything in the brook.
nothing in the brook, so
Okay, so skip that one too.
erosion, sediment control.
Okay, good. Straw bales, yes.
Yeah.
So check off 74, 75, 76.
Okay.
Okay.
Oops. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Ah, it's just highlighting on its own.
Hmm.
God, avoid heavy rain. That's a joke in this summer, for this
Right.
summer. But it's always a good thing to do.
Yes. There's no silk sacks, are there?
There might be some, there are, I think they are, because
Okay.
they're going to be doing a little bit of work in the existing roadways.
All right, so check off 79 and 80 then.
Okay. I don't anticipate any grease out there, but
Okay,
I think they would want to avoid that.
right.
Okay, so the stormwater requirements. I think we will want to check off some of these.
Okay, so 82 and 83,
Yep.
84, I guess, to keep the,
Yeah.
there's no construction entrance in the,
Forget. Melissa, is there a construction entrance? No, they're not going to be going in and out, I guess.
right.
So don't need that one. Deed restriction.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't think we need that one.
You know, they also are going through the city. They're meeting with the DPW tonight and getting a stormwater permit from the city. So a lot of this might be redundant.
Okay. Environmental monitor,
I mean, it's always good to have, I was going to suggest having some monitoring and reporting, but on a weekly basis. Time Bond is usually involved with helping them.
okay. Now this one involves a consultant. Do you want to have them hire somebody else or use in-house consultants or in-house personnel?
I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as somebody's checking the erosion controls regularly after storm events. You know, they're going to be in riverfront. So they're not going to be in the water, in the river.
Mm.
So they probably don't need an environmental monitor.
Okay, but we can add the special one for monitoring, but they can do that themselves.
Yeah, they can just send us somebody, whoever they want, somebody qualified, obviously,
Right,
but
okay. All right, then dewatering.
dewatering, we will want to check off some of these because they will be very likely doing some dewatering. And there was a dewatering plan in the notice of intent. The contractor may or may not want to update that, and we can go over that at the pre-construction meeting, but
All right, so we'll check off 91, 92, 93.
okay.
All right,
Okay.
there's no dredging.
No,
Okay,
it's not in the resource. Let's see.
there's no replication.
No.
Okay, 106 permanent stabilization, yes. 107, yes. 108, yes.
7, 8.
Okay.
future buyer. I don't think, I
Well-
don't see this changing hands, but
Right.
we will want the stormwater structure maintenance just
Okay.
because they're gonna have a water treatment system,
Okay.
stormwater treatment system underground that they're gonna want to maintain. And an O&M plan.
Okay. Then 112, conditions of perpetuity.
Yep.
Okay. All right, for bond.
This is private, right? This
Right.
is not a state or city job.
Right. And our Jim's not here this
He's
evening.
not
so
here, yeah.
we need another wise person to give us an idea. And
Mr. Chairman, how about Colleen?
I
What
think
have we done in the past? You know, what does she have on her record?
that's a good point. I think $5,000 is what we posted before when they've done similar work. That
Yeah.
seems reasonable to me, David.
yeah, they're not doing anything to the brook. I mean, they're going to be, putting some staging near it, but they'll have erosion controls in between. So I think 5 would be adequate. Is that agreeable to the commission?
That's fine with me.
Okay. All right. Again, Meredith, you had some recommended additional conditions.
Yes, there was just a couple. Where was I?
Okay, I'll read those off.
Okay, and we might have covered a couple of them already, so I'll stop sharing.
Okay. So environmental monitoring reports, weekly reports during construction and after storm events. Invasive species removal to be done by hand according to sheet 113. The 45 shrubs to be installed for mitigation shall be monitored for at least 2 years. The commissioner coordinator will approve the proposed plantings before they are installed. Require monumentation of the mitigation area. Again, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then dewatering plan to be provided prior to construction. So those will be the additional special conditions. Anyone in the commission like to add another special condition? Seeing none, have a motion to approve the conditions as written.
So moved.
Okay,
How about I'll second that then?
okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Tom,
I'll vote yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. All right, good luck, Melissa.
Thank you all. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item D, 39 Pequot Point Road. A replacement of deteriorating retaining wall. So in accordance with the provisions, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, public hearing will be held on September 14, 2021, 6:30 p.m. by virtual meeting regarding a notice of intent submitted by Aaron and Lee Masters for the replacement of a deteriorating retaining wall within the 100-foot buffer zone to Pequot Pond, located at 39 Pequot Point Road. And I think Mr. Masters is here. I think I saw him.
I am. Hello.
Hello. I know Meredith and I were out there to look at your property. Why don't you give the commission a brief summary of what you want to do?
So we have this really old retaining wall that was made out of car tires, and it's starting to collapse and fall forward towards the waterfront. So we would like to replace it with a preformed concrete block that would be trucked in and just stacked like Lego bricks.
Okay, can you explain you were gonna do something with the stairway there too? And a tree?
That's correct. There's a wooden staircase that's sitting on the ground. It's not anchored into the ground or anything like that. We're gonna remove that. And then there's also an oak tree on the edge of the property that we're asking to take down.
Okay.
It's hollow on the inside. We actually went to take it down before, and the guy didn't want to climb it because it was hollow.
Okay. Meredith, do you have a plan that you can share with the commission?
Or hang on one second. I can share the plan and then I can show you guys some photos. Or do you guys want to see photos first?
Well, let's look at the plan first so they get an idea of where things are.
Okay, can everyone see the sketch?
Yes.
So yeah, the pond is at the bottom of the page. Then there's a sandy beach. The existing tire retaining wall, which you'll see pictures of. Then it's sort of a sandy slope up and eventually gets to the house. Oh, and the staircase is there.
Okay. And the tree?
Tree is over here.
Okay.
Not sure which way is north, but
Okay.
North is up.
okay, that's good.
All right. Thank you. All right. Why don't you show some pictures?
Okay. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
So this is the oak. I mean, to me, it looks really healthy, but I'm not sure how you know a tree is hollow until you cut it. Seems very vibrant, but I don't know. Let's see if I can go through these. Okay, the retaining wall. I guess you could call that a retaining wall. It's definitely, it is holding a little bit of soil back. So there's the pond, there's some space between the tires and the pond, and I believe the new concrete wall would go in front of the tires, and then all the tires and the slope would be removed, and then it would be put back after the concrete blocks were installed. At least that's my understanding. And so there's the road, it's actually First Street, kind of dead ends here, and then they have it's like this access down. So they already have access, which is good. And I know they did an addition, and a lot of this was disturbed, and it really hasn't grown back in because it's so sandy there. So this is where they would be accessing the wall. And this goes right down to the pond. It's one of their docks, their other dock, and this is the slope looking down. You can't see the tires from here, but it's essentially where the grass stops. Oh, here we go. And then house, slope, tires, and then the stairs are there too. So I think, you know, they were going to put back sand and then loam on top of what they take out. And I think that would be helpful because it's all sand there right now. And so nothing can really grow. So another view of the oak tree, the stairs, the bank, and the pond. Tires.
Clarify on that, would the stairs be removed and then replaced, or is the intent to just remove them?
Just remove them.
Okay.
Other questions from the commission?
Lee, I was also on the site visit, and I remember I probably asked this there, but why are you doing this? Have you noticed erosion, or are you just trying to make it more attractive?
It's all of the above. So we have sand erosion happening, and we also, the wall is starting to come forward. So if you look back, satellite images, you can actually see that wall is actually starting to tip forward towards the water. And then, also, if I'm gonna do the work, I might as well make it look pretty.
Sure. Lee, tell me about this oak tree. It's in the way. I mean, it bothers you there.
Well, if you climb up in the tree, you can see that it's hollow up top. Like if you go up and you were to climb up there and look, and it leans over the neighbor's house, which you can't really see in the picture, but they're getting ready to build a whole new house, a brand new house. So there's concern that that tree could fall or break off and go into their house.
All right, a good answer. Thank you.
Okay, other questions?
Just maybe time frame. Lee, when are you hoping to engage this?
ASAP. The excavator is ready to go whenever we are.
Yeah, well, actually, while I'm on that, let me on behalf, I'm sure, or at least I hope somebody contacted you, but apologies from the city for the snafu 3 weeks ago or whenever. We did lose a little bit there. Were you contacted by the city?
Yes, I was. Meredith did. She contacted me.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Meredith, there were some comments from Mark Stinson. Do you want to go over those for the commission?
You want me to share them or just read them? I could just briefly go over. So he had Mark had a comment about, so this area is it's mapped as a floodplain. And he had a question: has the commission ever determined the base flood elevation for other work around the lake? And yes, we have. Actually, the neighboring property, they figured out the flood elevation. And of course, the concern always with floodplain is that you're not adding material or adding volume to the floodplain. And in this case, I believe they're going to be dropping the elevation. They're going to be grading back the existing slope, and they will be replacing, some of that comp storage, if you will be replaced with the concrete blocks. However, I think more material will be taken out. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about that, Lee, at all? The whole thing with floodplain is we can't allow additional volume to be put on within the floodplain. And the thing is, we don't have a plan with elevations on it. So it's hard to say where that is, where the floodplain is. It's an elevation somewhere on your property. The neighbors had it at I think it was 256. So where that is on your property, I have no idea. It was about, trying to remember the neighbor's plan. But ultimately, yeah.
I don't think we're in that floodplain. I think we're farther back.
Okay. Yeah, I think, the neighbor is putting in a retaining wall and removing material, but they had a net increase in flood storage on their property. So I'm thinking, it's hard to say, but I think you're going to be taking more material away than adding. I hope.
Yeah, I don't see we're not adding anything to the beach, and we're kind of putting the wall in almost the exact same place.
Okay, so it's maybe it's even just 1 for 1. Okay, so that was the first DEP comment, and then they had a comment about the docks. And they wanted the applicant to file a Chapter 91 license. The docks need to be shown on a plan, or the applicant will have to submit a new RDA or an NOI for the dock. Apparently 2 docks are shown. You have 2 docks and 1 dock is likely allowed. So I don't know, Chapter 91 aren't our regulations, so I'm not well versed in those. But you did send me a plan with the docks. And are you planning on getting rid of one of the docks?
Yes, I'm gonna take one out and move one of the docks into where he said 25 feet from the property line.
Okay. So you probably will have to submit this plan with the Chapter 91 license to the state. And I don't really know how to do that. I mean, I can send you the resources they've sent.
I can email him and ask him to.
Okay.
He seemed like he was pretty helpful.
Yeah, he's very helpful. Yeah. So for the commission, we should include 1 dock in this project as well.
Okay.
Does that show on the site plan that was submitted, Meredith? Do we know where this dock will be moved to? Which one is being moved?
Mr. Masters sent additional plan. I can show of the docks, an existing conditions plan and a proposed for the docks. So yes, it's not on the plan for the wall, but it's on another plan. So we can reference that plan in our order of conditions.
Thank you.
Yep. And the last comment was about buffer zone being developed. The issuing authority, which is us, may consider the extent of existing development in its review of subsequent proposed work, and where prior development is extensive, may consider such measures as restoration of natural vegetation adjacent to the resource area. So basically he's saying we can ask for some sort of restoration because the buffer zone is developed, I guess. Is that where you're getting out of that? Did anyone else read that one? It was a little wordy and I didn't quite, I think that's what he's saying. But I was hoping, as far as plantings, they're going to be installing the wall, regrading the slope, putting new material down. I was hoping we could get some native plantings in there. It is going to be manicured, but if we get some pollinators in there, some native species, rather than all lawn.
Yeah. That'll help stabilize the slope too.
Yeah, exactly. And just,
Yeah, that's what we want to do, is put it on the sloping part, basically the graded part, and then the flatter parts would be grass, except for like a walkway down.
okay. So one other question, Lee, you have the kind of where you access the back of the house, to get to the pond. Is that like where you'll be driving down? Is that going to be all revegetated too?
Yes. Yep. That'll be grass though. We're just going to clean that up a little bit because he's obviously going to disturb that with the excavator. So we're just kind of clean it up and put some topsoil down and plant some grass seed there.
Okay. And you're going to be installing erosion controls across the whole length
Yes.
of property?
Yep. From property line to property line. Yep.
Okay.
East and west.
And will there be enough space between the pond and the new wall to install erosion controls?
Yeah, there's about 10 feet right now between the wall and then the water line. So I think I can get something in there. I mean, a bale of hay is only like 2 feet wide, so or
Right.
straw, and then the silt fence. So it's not the wall's not that, the erosion controls aren't that big.
Right. Yeah, and as soon as you get the retaining wall, the new retaining wall in, that's going to be holding everything back. That's going to be essentially the erosion controls. It's just that window where you're removing the existing and putting in the new one. It's gonna have
Right.
a day like the past 2 days. But
Hopefully.
those blocks come in, they're already built. They're already, don't they just come in and drop them?
That's correct. They're precast, and they lift them with an excavator and they place them right in the spot. And they literally stack like Lego bricks, and it shouldn't take us maybe a day or two to stack them, maybe 3 days tops if, you know, digging is hard or something, but it should be really quick.
Okay. Yeah, so that's gonna be the bulk of, I mean, that's the bulk of my concern is that window because of the weather we've had. But you'll just have to be mindful of that and keep up on the erosion controls and pay attention to the weather forecast.
Meredith, I'm pleased to hear that they're going to be doing some plantings. Was there a separate, they're not on the plan you showed us. Are they on some separate plan that you're also have there?
We don't have a planting list, and I think that's really the only outstanding thing. We have the plans. Lee sent me a construction sequence, but I don't have a list of native plantings, how many, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
and I don't
Lee, what are you guys thinking? Talk to us about your planting plan.
I don't have a list specifically of what plants we're going to use.
Definitely some bushes and.
Yeah, low-lying bushes of some sort. Meredith said that there was a list of some stuff that we might be able to choose from, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sounds like we're going in the direction of either continuing this and talking to you again in 2 weeks about a planting plan, or we could take a stab, maybe we could take a stab at establishing that you're going to put in whatever, you tell me, 8 shrubs, and give us an idea so that we can maybe put a little X on the site plan that you submitted. Let's start by how long is this wall?
The new wall will be about 50 feet long.
So in 50 feet, how many shrubs are you thinking? How many pollinator type plantings do you think would be appropriate? Hey, I'm just trying to think this out loud.
Probably 10 to 12 of like an evergreen style, like low-lying plant would be best, so it doesn't grow tall to block any of the view.
Yeah, I can appreciate
Some sort
that.
of, yeah, and some sort of flowering plant to go in between, but I don't know exactly which one yet.
Mhm.
In your mind, it sounded like you wanted to put them, you talked about you'll have a lawn area, and then you'll have this cement deal, and then like a slope down toward the pond. Have I got that correct?
Yes, so on one of the plans I submitted, you have this like 20-foot flat area that leaves the house. This 20-foot area that leaves the house, and then it tapers downhill. And that's about 10 to 12 feet long, this tapered slope, you know, from the wall to the top. So if you look see where the wooden stairs, the top of the wooden stairs are?
Yep.
That area right there, where you see where it says slope and 4-foot rise. That's a 4-foot rise over an 11-foot run. So what that means is that at the wall, it's going to rise up 4 feet over 11 feet. So at the top of it, that's what you're looking at, roughly, you know, was that 400 square feet? 40 square feet, roughly?
Yep.
Now, the new wall, though, there is a drawing with the new wall. The new wall will be a little bit longer than what you see here. It's going to go about 10 feet past the stairs. So you're going to have maybe 60 square feet to plant.
Hey, Meredith, you have a note here that we need to note the updates to continue. Is that before you receive the new plan from State Lee?
Well, I didn't have a plan. Yeah, I didn't have the construction plan or the dock plan yet. I think, you know, besides knowing exactly what they're gonna plant and how many, I don't think we need much else.
Let's take a page from Alex's book. Let's approve this with the understanding that there's going to be a planting of, 10 to 12. What shall we call them?
Well, I feel like we maybe need more than that. 400 square feet. If you have a shrub every,
Every 4 feet.
it's going to be 40 shrubs.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more than just, those low-lying evergreen shrubs, like some aronia, some vaccinium. I don't know. I think we can condition this, and we should. It wasn't really fair that the last meeting was canceled. We lost a month. And that was, I think this is permittable. We just
Well,
maybe write the order so that we come to an agreement on a planting plan. That's,
Yeah,
Is-
and we're open to suggestion. We're not,
I just don't know off the top of my head. I like to look at, see what has colors. Like Meredith and I had talked about that. There and looking at something, seeing what would be approved for that area.
Yeah, I think for the commission, I know we'd like to finish this tonight, but I mean, it's not up to us to tell the applicant what plants to put there. I think it's up to them to decide what they want, and then we say yes or no. Unfortunately, we did lose time because of the last meeting being canceled, but I think this is important because it's so close to the pond, and it is such a slope there that it needs to be done correctly. So another 2 weeks
Mr. Chair?
working on a very good planting plan may be worthwhile.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that the pond itself, that never, like right now, what the water level is the highest you'll ever see on that pond, because that overflows to the next pond, to the next, all the way down to the river. So there's no, that's like the high water point. And like I said, I do have a place that's on the ponds. I don't know these neighbors at all, but, so erosion, you don't have to worry about, us getting a lot of water, maybe something washing down the hill, but you're not going to have anything coming up, from the pond. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. And then the other thing would be, I think it's definitely an improvement on that landscape, taking out old tires that are deteriorating in the, near the waterfront, and then replacing it with a retaining wall. And if you're worried about like a comp storage, Meredith, maybe they move the wall back, I don't know, a foot, and then that would give you, 60 feet at a foot times, 2 feet high or 3 feet high. That gives you a lot more comp storage if you're worried about the water ever coming up, but it won't ever come up from the pond wise. Just pointing that out from something I know. That's all. Thank you.
yeah,
Okay. So the retaining wall is going to replace or be in the same position as the tires. Is that correct? Or is it going to be closer to the pond than the tires?
no, it's gonna be pretty much in the same place. Or we can pull it back a foot if that works for you guys. That's fine with us too. That just gives me more beach.
So I think we talked about that out at the site, that, gaining that extra foot might be advisable for you or helpful for you. Meredith, are you comfortable with the conditions not having an approved planting plan by the commission?
yeah, I would just have to work with them. I'd like to agree on maybe a number of shrubs.
I think if we know the planting area, which you can kind of identify on the plan, and you give them the native plantings list, they can pick the plantings they want. And then based on standard landscape guidance, you're going to figure out your spacing, and that's how many you're going to settle on. So it's that that whole area has to be vegetated with native plantings would be the condition. And then that scheme would be approved by you. And so it puts the burden on Lee and his wife to identify the plants they want and put the spacing there and show you kind of like, okay, here, this plant says it needs, 4 or 5 feet, whatever, so we put them, this is the spacing we did, and that's the number we arrived at. And as long as they can present to you that logical case, so there's no burden on you now, you're just saying, yes, these are native, and yes, they're following the planting guidance, that the nursery's identified, reputable source, obviously. But I think then our expectation is that area that we see on the plan is planted with native species, and I'm comfortable there.
I guess it'd be okay if we do approve it this evening, that she, until we don't send out the letter until we get the approval of the plan, and then send out the letter from the official letter from the commission. So would that be agreeable to the commission?
I'm also comfortable with the idea. Meredith, when you work with the masters, think also about something where that tree used to be, where the oak tree used to be. We probably should put a replacement, some sort of sapling over there too, or at least consider it. But yeah, I have confidence that these two parties can work together, and we'll make it conditional upon approval of the planting plan to be submitted.
Okay. So
I'm a little bit sort of leaning to the way David did of wanting to see the plan, but I guess if Meredith is confident that this will work, so as long as we're not putting too much of a burden on Meredith, then I'm willing to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think the masters understand that the responsibility is theirs. Meredith is going to send them the material to work with, and I think I agree. I appreciate Meredith being willing to do this. I hear what you're saying, Carl.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
And I'm also okay with it.
I'll send them a list of plants that are native and low growing, and then they'll just need to come up with the spacing and the number. That's the only thing
Right.
and I was envisioning the whole slope above the retaining wall. Were you guys envisioning that? The whole slope above the retaining wall to be kind of
Yes.
shrubs and,
Yes. Yep.
okay. And the lawn, it will be up kind of closer to your deck.
Yeah, the
Yes.
flat area.
Walk out, yeah, the flat, okay.
Okay. Is that amenable to the commission?
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Okay. All right, any questions or comments from the audience concerning this particular project? All right, entertain a motion.
Yep. Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Tom,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Okay, let's go through the conditions.
Start at the end? No, hold on. Want to go backwards? I'll keep you guys awake. All right. Let me see. So all the general conditions. Always forget where we start here.
Right there.
So this is not an acre. I don't think. No, there's no, it's not an acre. So no SWIP is going to be required.
All right, so de-recording, yes.
Yes.
DEP sign, yes.
Yep.
De-restriction language.
Think so, David.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oops.
There's no wildlife language. Applicant letter, yes. Contractor letter, yes. Excavator copy of orders, yes. Construction sequence, I think you received that, yes?
I did receive it, yes.
Okay, good. Erosion controls, yes. Pre-construction meeting, yes.
Yes.
So, yeah. So we'll have that meeting after they put in the erosion controls
Right, and the DEP sign.
and the DEP sign. Thank you. 61, emergency contact information, yes. 48-hour notice, yes. There's no Title V.
Right.
No water quality cert, no markers involved,
No,
no signage,
no.
no comp storage, no basins.
Whoa, you're flying through. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Oops. Trees.
There's one.
Yeah, there's one. We know which one it is.
Okay,
No basins.
no basins.
Low. Oh,
Now fertilizer, so close
Oh.
to the pond. Probably not.
yeah, we don't want fertilizer.
No.
Hopefully they'll just get good loam.
Okay.
That will be enough for the plants.
Okay. Low flow, that's not necessary.
Okay.
Okay, now for erosion controls, you suggested,
Oh, yes.
but we'll add that as a separate one because that's above the one you're suggesting or above the wall, not below the wall, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
I would,
the-
yeah, they'll do the straw bales in front of the wall.
That's correct. Yep. So 74, 75, 76, yes.
Okay.
77, okay. 78, yes, avoid heavy rain. There's no catch basins. 79, there's no grease traps. There's no stormwater involved.
Right.
There's no monitor involved. No dewatering,
Right.
no dredging, no
Oops.
no replication.
No application.
All right, 106, permanent stabilization, yes. 107, yes. 108, yes. Okay. And then future
Yes.
buyer, yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's no structure, so we don't need 110, we don't need 111.
Right.
112, conditions in perpetuity, yes. And a bond. Okay, what do you think, Tom?
I think the worst case scenario would be it gets half dug out or whatever, and then something horrible happens and it never gets completed. So what would it cost the city to complete this job if it was done half? In other words, what would it cost us if we had to step in and remediate this project? I don't know why I've got $5,000 on my mind, but I think if it's $5,000, you should be able to hire somebody with the right equipment to come in there and at least shore it up.
Mhm.
So there I am again with a suggestion of $5,000.
My only issue, Tom, is the fact that the plant material, we don't know how much plant material is going to be involved there, and plant material can get pricey.
Yeah, if we have like 20 plants, $10 a piece is, I don't, Bob, you know this a lot better than I, but
No, I don't think so, Tom.
Mhm.
all right.
I think they're looking at least 30 to 40.
So maybe $7,000.
This is also a homeowner that, that's a lot. because they're gonna need to do the plantings in the project.
We don't
That's,
have $7,000 to give you.
yeah, that's like 3 times what it's gonna cost me to build the wall.
And you know, this
Yeah.
is probably a 3-day thing. Besides the plantings, they're gonna get in there, get the wall in, get the material out and put back good soil, and that's it. I was thinking like 2,000, or, I mean, I don't know what you guys usually do, but you know, it doesn't behoove the owner to do a bad job because their slope's gonna go into the pond.
Wouldn't be here.
Just to put it into perspective, the blocks are gonna cost me $1,700, just the blocks.
All right, well, thank you. The meeting's been, or the hearing's been closed, so unfortunately, we can't discuss this with you.
Well, I may have overestimated. I figured this project was probably a $10,000 project.
Mhm.
Maybe it is a $2,500 or a $3,000 project.
Mhm.
But Bob, if I go back to $5,000, I don't know if that addresses your concern. Or maybe it does.
Yeah, probably. But again, just remember, plant material is expensive now. Plants are short. You know, there's shortages right now.
Help me understand
without-
your point.
Well,
What's your point?
my point is, Tom, we don't know how many plants are going in there. That's all I got to say. If it was 3 or 4 or 5, it's a no-brainer. We don't know if it's going to be 10, 20. That's all I got to say.
Just as a reminder though, any plants are better than what's there now. There's nothing but beach and sand, right?
That's true. That's
Okay.
true.
I'm okay lower, to be honest here. I mean, I
Well,
would have taken the bait at $2,500.
Mhm.
I'm pretty comfortable there. I think, you know, frankly, if something happens, right, the blocks are already there. So you're just having either DPW or hiring somebody to go out there for a day and just stabilize things.
Mhm.
And the comment about there's really no plants there now, you know, so what are we trying to achieve in a stabilization scenario? I'm comfortable around $2,500.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't have to get built the way that it's currently designed to satisfy a remediation objective, if that's the case. So, and I'm also being cognizant that it's a residential landowner and not, you know, not a commercial project or something. So just trying to be reasonable on the number.
Right. And I concur with Alex.
I'm okay too. Having met Lee, I know that they're responsible. I know he's gonna do the job right. So let's go with $2,500. Lee, you do understand that this is a bond. This will be money that is returned at the end of the project?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Meredith, you had some additional special conditions?
Yeah, I think
You think we've addressed them all?
one of my suggestions was using erosion control blanket on the slope. I had talked to Lee about that
Okay,
a few weeks ago. And, you know, we really want, it's fine for them to put whatever gravel, sand down first behind the wall, but then loaming and then putting the erosion control blanket in the plantings is going to be really important. So,
all right, we'll add that as a special condition then.
okay, and then can someone quote Alex on what he said for the planting plan? Well, a planting plan will be provided based on the square footage of the disturbed slope by the applicant prior to construction.
Well, prior to receipt of the official letter from the commission.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So everything needs to be in place before you send out the letter saying that they can do the job.
Okay. And we want to have a note about replacing the oak tree. The oak tree may be cut, but it should be replaced with some other sapling. shad bush or something that doesn't grow so tall.
Yeah. Considering our revision of the ordinance, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So, so
makes sense.
they can pick something out and you can approve it.
Okay.
The state mentioned that a chapter 91 license, we probably should mention that in the conditions that regarding the dock.
Yeah, one dock has to be removed and the other one placed at least 25 feet from the boundary. And then they have to apply for chapter 91.
Right. Okay.
All right.
But
Anything else?
I guess just to be clear, that pertains to the dock part of the project. Once you get your planting plan, I'm pretty sure they can proceed with the wall aspect of the project.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I'm just clarifying that for the masters. I mean,
Okay.
and we're saying ultimately we're okay with the dock, but the dock's contingent on the 91 process.
Yeah, we just have to cover ourselves by saying you have to apply for it, but
Oh, you've dropped out, Meredith. I don't know why.
We can't hear you. Okay. Hello, Meredith. Can't hear you.
oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
All
Oh, God.
right. All right. Anything else? All right. Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the conditions.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Tom,
I'll vote yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Bob,
Yeah.
and I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. Well, good luck.
Yep, good luck.
We will be in touch.
All right, item 4, public meetings. 177 Debbie Lane. Formerly Gun Club Road. Okay. Removal of 13 trees in a 100-foot buffer zone. So in accordance with the provisions, Massachusetts general laws, chapter 131, section 40, a public meeting will be held on September 14th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. by virtual meeting regarding a request for determination of applicability submitted by Jody Pasquini for the removal of 13 trees within the 100-foot buffer zone to Horse Pond located at 177 Debbie Lane. Okay. And again, we did go out for a site visit at this location. Is Jody? There's Jody. Okay. You want to just tell the rest of the commission a little bit of what you want to do? Yeah, you need to unmute.
No, we still can't hear.
Can't hear you, Jody.
Wonder if I can unmute. No, I can't. It should be on the bottom left. Oh, there she goes.
There you go. Okay. So just explain to the commission your project.
Oh, we still can't hear you. Oh, I think you need to maybe turn up the volume.
Is Peter with us tonight?
Yeah, he's.
Peter, are you live there? Is there any way you could try to help this young lady and we could come back to her? Oh,
Okay, while we're waiting, Meredith, why don't you show some of your pictures?
Okay. Share. Oops.
Hi, this
Oh.
is Jody. So sorry. Can you guys hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can.
you.
I'm sorry about that.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just briefly explain to the rest of the commission what you'd like to do.
Oh, I just want to take down these trees so they don't crash down and squish my house. They are very close and in pretty rough shape.
Yeah, so when we did the site visit, we estimated, we pulled the tape and there was about, there wasn't about, I think there was 9 trees in our jurisdiction. They're pretty big oaks. There's a hemlock, mostly oaks, a couple pines. Really fairly, very large trees. But those actually aren't in our jurisdiction. Let me see. So all the trees that are tagged. How do you know they're in bad condition, Jody? I mean,
So I
just-
had some taken down in the front. I sent you some pictures. I had
Oh, yeah.
2 of them taken down in the front and the inside was hollow, both of them. And so over the last spring, I had a tree that almost fell down over here that K&J came and took out, which was also hollow. So I suspect that many of the trees in the area are the same. And the 2 big ones in the front I had taken down that were right in front were hollow in the middle for the most part. I sent you pictures of that.
Mhm.
yeah, I do. I have those.
Jody, you took 2 of the trees down that were not within our jurisdiction since we visited you. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Well, more than 2, but there were 2 that were hollow, that were very
Yep.
close to the house. The ones farther out were okay.
Right. I'm usually a huge tree hugger and fight and scrape for saving any tree, but if this young lady has decided that these trees might fall on her house, and they do provide some shade to the water resource that's will be missed, but this tree hugger has no issues with these trees.
So those are the ones in the front of the house picture, Meredith, are the ones that were taken down that are hollow in the middle. Right. And I like my privacy here. Like, part of what I love about this house is the trees, but the ones that are leaning over the house or very close are kind of terrifying me.
When I was out there, it looked like there are, plenty of other trees to provide shade for the pond. It's not like
Right.
she's,
Anything along the shoreline, I wouldn't be touching, not
Yeah.
even close.
and she's not clear cutting down to the pond. And the trees, some of them are, as you see here, leaning right on top of the house. There's a lot of mold or moss on the top of the house, the roof, because of bad air circulation as well.
Yeah, so Jody, what would you estimate the closest tree to the pond would be? Maybe 20 feet or 30 feet?
About that, I think in the pictures, it's those 2 little ones.
The little ones, yeah.
Remember
Okay.
the 2 little ones that we took? It's in the other picture.
Yeah, I
think
do.
that-
Yeah, they were on the slope. There's a pine and a hemlock.
Yeah. So there's this one here on the left.
Oops, that one?
Yep, and then, I don't know, you can see way in the back, there's the 2 little ones.
Oh, those ones, yeah.
I don't know if you can really see. Yeah, but that's the closest. Like this tall one right here in the, those ones down by the shoreline. I like all them staying. I'm not trying to create a beach over here. I have one next door.
So you're not gonna
Don't
try to
want
put a lawn?
A lawn?
Yeah.
No, God, no. In the front side though, I did take down those trees and I planted, shrubs, 6 shrubs.
Oh, wow. What did you
Okay.
plant?
Boxwood?
Oh, I like that. Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say,
But the store,
Boxwood.
the nursery in Westfield by Walmart on that road, they were having a sale like 40% off of shrubs and all that. I'm going to tell Lee, actually, Masters. I know them. I grew up with them.
oh, really?
They live over here. Yeah. Side note, she grew up in that house. They've lived there forever.
Oh. So
Jody,
what was it? Boxwood? Oh, I just was gonna look up the plant. Anyways.
Winter boxwood.
Okay, I don't know that one. Yeah, I was gonna suggest replacing the trees that you cut with shrubs, native low-growing shrubs.
Jody, there was one tree, if you're standing at the pond looking up on the right-hand side near the porch, I think you mentioned you were going to take a branch off of it instead of taking the whole tree down. Is that correct, or am I thinking of a different location?
No, I don't think I just said a branch. The ones that I marked are the trees to take down. There's no like surprises in there.
Okay,
And I
That
don't
must-
know.
that must have been a different location then. Okay.
I may have said something. I'm just not sure what it was, but it's
Okay.
nothing substantial like conservation, like not taking down an extra tree.
Okay. All right, other questions from the commission? Okay, in the application, Meredith, is there an indication that shrubs will be planted to replace the trees?
It doesn't say that, I don't think. It just requests the trees
Okay,
to be removed.
so we can condition the
Yes.
determination.
Yep, so it's a buffer zone only project.
Okay,
I really don't think it's, if the trees are just cut and not stumped, there shouldn't be any erosion.
right,
It's just loss of habitat, really.
okay. But there are plenty of other trees around the area.
Yeah, there are other trees.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
grass and stuff will grow underneath those trees that otherwise couldn't because it's been so shaded. Nothing's been able to grow here except moss.
Okay, other questions from the commission or comments? All right, any comments or questions from the audience concerning this particular project? All right, seeing none, I entertain a motion to close the public meeting.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Tom,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. All right, do we have a motion on the determination?
Yeah, looks like we'll make a motion to approve this as a -3 with the following conditions. The requested 9 trees may be cut but not stumped. Stumps shall remain in place. The commission will be notified when the work will take place. Each tree will be replaced with 2 native shrubs such as low bush, blueberry, mountain laurel, sweet fern, or other native shrubs or trees. And the commission will approve the shrubs or trees prior to their installation. And final condition is that lawn will not be installed in the buffer zone. That's my motion.
Okay, do you have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, anything we need to add, Meredith, or does that cover everything?
I think I covered it all.
I think so.
Probably too much.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, it's better too much than too little, I think. So,
Can I ask a question?
not
Sorry.
really. Okay. Um,
So for the trees that are on the flat, like not grinding the stumps, I mean, I have no problem with the stumps on the hill, but what about on the flat part next to the house? Those stumps can't be ground down? They're
No,
on
they
the
all
flat
need
part.
to remain. You can cut them as close as you can, but they need to remain to keep the ground stable.
On the flat part?
Yes, it's still in the buffer zone, yes.
I mean, otherwise we're gonna, I mean, that wasn't part of, I didn't think that was part of the proposal. Because otherwise we're gonna have open soil and no erosion controls. I don't know, but I guess the commission could, if you're putting plants right there, but if you're just grinding them and then that's just gonna be, it turn into lawn, basically. I don't know.
The stumps shall remain in place.
Okay. Okay, where was I? Did we have,
I think that was it.
okay, so we were a discussion. So all in favor of the motion? Tom?
I'll vote yes.
Okay, Carl?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Cliff?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. Okay. So Colleen, we do have a motion and a second and approval. Okay, thank you.
Correct.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck, Jody.
Good luck, Jody.
Thank you.
All right, item B, 1515 Granville Road, Springfield Water and Sewer Commission.
Mr.
Request
Chair,
for,
I'm gonna recuse myself again.
all right, thank you. Request for jurisdictional status of the Sedimentation Basin and its upstream and downstream channels. So in accordance with the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, a public meeting will be held on September 14, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. by virtual meeting regarding the request for determination of applicability submitted by Springfield Water and Sewer Commission for the request for jurisdictional status of the Sedimentation Basin and its upstream and downstream channels located at 1515 Granville Road. So they're asking area and boundaries, no work proposed.
I think we have a proponent.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. Should I just go ahead, Meredith, and introduce myself? And
Sure, go right ahead.
okay. I'm Jennifer Doyle Green from AECom, and I have Rhonda Pogajensky from AECom with me here tonight as well. We are providing some facilities planning services to the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission. We don't have an SWSC representative here tonight, I don't believe. And I think it's probably because they, as you probably recall, there was another project that was just on the agenda in this for the Clearwell and the new pump station. And as was mentioned, I think there's a stormwater permit hearing going on at the same time for that other project. So I think that's why we don't have an SWS representative here tonight. But the subject of the RDA that we submitted on behalf of the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission is, as was mentioned, the Sedimentation Basin that is part of the Commission's water supply and treatment facilities. The Commission provides potable drinking water to 250,000 customers in Springfield and Ludlow, as well as wholesale water and peak demand and emergency water to a number of other communities in the area. So Meredith, why don't I just go ahead and share my screen if that's okay, and I'll just give a very quick overview of what was in the RDA so that we can get to any questions that the Commission has.
That'd be great.
Okay. I think that this should work. Oh, share. There we go. Okay. All right. Is everybody seeing my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Meredith's nodding. Okay. So just to give again a very quick overview, the water that is treated at the West Parish filter plant, which again we talked about earlier, the commission heard about earlier for the new Clearwell and pumping station project. But right now the water comes to the West Parish filter plant directly from the sedimentation basin that is located immediately upstream. Water gets to the sedimentation basin from the upstream water supply sources. Water flows through Cobble Mountain Reservoir, and it can get to the sedimentation basin through a 42-inch water pipeline, which is actually currently out of service, but is in the process of being rehabilitated. Or it can go through an intermediary intake reservoir and through there's a 72-inch tunnel where water can get into the sedimentation basin. And I should say right here that Rhonda Pogajensky, who's also at the meeting tonight, is one of the lead engineers on the project. So certainly Rhonda will step in and correct me if I say anything incorrect about how the water goes through the treatment system. But right now, water cannot get into the West Parish filter treatment plant itself without going through the sedimentation basin. Let's see, so just to give some background, the sedimentation basin was built in 1910. It holds, and I'm going to just actually flip to an aerial view. This just shows an aerial view of the sedimentation basin. It was built in 1910. It holds 121 acre feet of water. It has an average depth of approximately 15 feet. When it was originally constructed, the thought was that it would provide some water quality treatment by removing organic materials, and lime and or permanganate was added at one time to the basin, but there have been no chemicals added for many years. There is a dam at the downstream end of the basin that was constructed. And again, this is where the 42-inch pipeline comes in. And that is how water gets into the basin. Also the 72-inch, I believe there's an underground inlet in somewhere in this area that isn't visible at the surface. So other than just the natural water that flows from the watershed, the primary sources of hydrology for the basin are what comes in through the 42-inch and the pipeline and the 72-inch tunnel. And I'm gonna go through some photos of this in a minute. And one of the things you'll see in the photos is that when the sedimentation basin was constructed, there were some baffles that were put in place, and you can see them very faintly if you look hard. There's a faint outline if you can follow my cursor. These are underwater baffles that are in place, and they were constructed to minimize the potential for water short-circuiting through the basin. So in other words, to have it to make sure that there was enough time for water to stay in the basin and settle out material before it was intaken into the water, the West Parish treatment facility, which is down off the scale of this photo, but down to the south. But in some recent evaluations that have been done, it's basically been demonstrated that the basin is not providing any treatment benefit at this point. It's not removing organic material, and there's really no water quality value or function provided by the sedimentation basin. So at the moment, AECOM is helping the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission with some facilities planning to look at upgrading the treatment plant. And as part of that, as part of those discussions, there have been some discussion, I guess I would say, about the regulatory status, the jurisdictional status of the sedimentation basin, because it is not really needed any longer for, like I said, water quality purposes. And as part of the potential future upgrades to the treatment plant, there are some alternatives under consideration in which water would be taken directly from the 42-inch or the 72-inch directly into the water treatment plant, so it would not have to go through the basin. And so the commission is, there's been some debate back and forth about the jurisdictional status of this basin. And so just to sort of codify this and get the commission's opinion on paper of the jurisdictional status of the sedimentation basin, the commission wanted us to go ahead and submit this RDA. So that's why we're here tonight. So looking at this aerial photograph, again, this shows the outline of the basin, the dam at the downstream end. We did have an AECOM wetland scientist go out and walk the perimeter of the basin. We did not flag the entire perimeter of the basin because our primary purpose, again, is just to confirm, whether it's jurisdictional or not. As they were out there walking around the perimeter, there were two channels observed that discharged directly to or from the sedimentation basin. So we've shown them here on this figure. One is an intermittent stream channel, and I have some photographs of this I'll show in a minute, that just seems to carry intermittent drainage from the watershed. And then at the downstream end, there is an overflow channel, a constructed discharge channel, which very rarely flows because basically any water that would flow through this discharge channel is really wasted from the perspective of providing potable water. In other words, the commission, the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission, manages the water going into the basin and the water going out because they want to maximize that water to provide to their customers. So there's not a benefit to sending water over the discharge channel and downstream. The basin, I'm going to flip back up here. This is, again, just another figure showing the blue line shows the 42-inch pipeline that comes down from Cobble Mountain Reservoir. This area is the existing West Parish filter treatment plant. And again, just to orient you, the new clear well and backwash pump replacement project that was heard earlier tonight is going right in this area here. So the sedimentation basin is located again at the downstream end of the 42-inch and just upstream of the existing treatment plant. And there's some pipelines that take water out of the basin and into the treatment plant. The green here is showing areas mapped as 100-year floodplain on the FEMA flood insurance rate map. So the entire basin is mapped as 100-year floodplain. And then I think the next thing I would like to show is just to run through some photographs. So I am going to just stop sharing for a second, and then I'll bring up the photographs. Give me 1 second. Oops. Let's see if I can get these two. And I'm going to share again. Forget to click on the blue share button. Okay, there we go. So is everybody seeing these photographs? Yeah, okay, Meredith's nodding. So these are just some photographs to give you an idea of what the sedimentation basin looks like. Again, it is a relatively large body of water. This just shows where the 42-inch pipeline comes in right now. And then I just have a few photographs just giving you an idea of what the area of the sedimentation basin is like. There's an overview of the open water area of the basin. This is the dam at the downstream end. It's another view of where the 42-inch pipeline comes in and the existing discharge channel from that. And then just another view of the overall basin and the dam again. This is just to show you, again, it's not extremely deep. Back in 2005, there was an unexpected, to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but some plug came out and the basin accidentally drained. And so this is just a photograph that I thought was interesting to share to give you an idea of what it looks like when there's no water in it. And here's a picture of the baffles. So you can see, I tried to point this out on the aerial. It's a little hard to see on the aerial. There's a little faint outline there if you squint, but this is what it looks like when it's drained. So there's clearly a constructed baffle that's present below the ordinary high water of the sedimentation basin. And then this is a photograph of the discharge channel. So when the basin overflows, which isn't very often, this is where the overflow channel, and this discharges into Cook's Brook, which is runs along the length of the West Parish filter, one access of the site. And just for reference, this, I believe, is generally the area where the new clear well is going to be constructed, which was discussed earlier. This is a picture of that rocky intermittent channel that I pointed out that's upstream of the sedimentation basin, and we can certainly go back to that overview figure in a minute. But we flagged this because it is, there is some flow. I have another photo next. Oh, there's just where the rocky channel discharges into the sedimentation basin. And this is another picture of it a little bit further upstream. There's some sediment covering the rocks, but it's really like a thin coating underneath that. It's quite rocky. And it's surrounded, by upland on both sides. So, under the Wetland Protection Act regulations, at least our opinion would be that this stream is not jurisdictional because it discharges into, upstream, discharges into and is located upstream of a resource area, but there's no resource area upstream that we saw. And that is the end of the photographs. So let me just go back to the overview figure. I'm going to share again. Click the blue button. And so again, just to recap, our primary purpose for coming in front of the commission tonight is to request the commission's opinion on the jurisdictional status of the sedimentation basin, as well as the intermittent rocky stream up here and the discharge channel. Meredith emailed me earlier today because we did identify on the RDA form that we would like to confirm jurisdictional status as well as boundaries, but we did not flag the boundary of the sedimentation basin itself. We did flag the boundary of this discharge channel at the downstream end. The black dots are the wetland flag locations.
Sorry to interrupt. We can't see that actually. It's just the end of the
Oh, I'm sorry. Why is it not sharing? Do you see anything?
We see the end of a slideshow.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you were just referring to it and we couldn't see it.
Yeah, of course. What do I have to do here? I'm gonna stop sharing again. Maybe I just shared the wrong screen. Let's see. Any luck now or same thing?
Yeah, we see the ortho photo plan.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, as I was saying, on the form we asked, the request for jurisdictional determination was both for the jurisdictional status as well as the boundaries. Our intent was not to request confirmation of the boundary of the sedimentation basin because we have not flagged the boundary of that. We did place flags at the top of bank, the first observable break of slope, so the top of the bank along the discharge channel as shown by these black dots. The figure that we submitted, which is shown here, does not include the actual flag numbers. And, Meredith, and then at the upstream as well, we identified the center of the stream channel and not the boundaries of the bank as, under the Wetlands Protection Act. It seemed like it would be non-jurisdictional, although I know Meredith mentioned earlier to me today that it could be considered jurisdictional under the local ordinance. And in any event, again, our primary purpose is to confirm jurisdictional status of each of these three areas. And it would certainly be, I should take also a step back and say, as I mentioned, what may happen with this sedimentation basin in the future or options for it really hasn't been determined yet. So certainly if there was going to be any work done, we would have to come back with a notice of intent. So it would be if the commission were to prefer to defer the boundary confirmation until such time as an NOI, I think that would be acceptable. Especially considering I know there hasn't been a site visit, with Meredith to go over. We walked by it when we were out at the site, but I know you didn't inspect this, in detail. So I guess I'll just leave that up to however the Meredith, you and the commission feel is most appropriate to handle it. But again, our primary goal is to get the commission's decision on the jurisdictional status of these 3 areas. And I'll stop talking there.
Do you want to just recap what
I'm sorry.
the jurisdictional areas are?
Yes, I can.
For them?
I'm sorry, I think I switched can you still see the aerial photograph?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, technological difficulties.
Yeah.
So
we know about those.
In terms of jurisdictional status, our opinion or suggestion would be that the sedimentation basin is jurisdictional as land underwater, as well as bordering land subject to flooding. The discharge channel, is intermittent, and so by definition, it would seem to be that it would be classified as bank, but not land underwater, because under low flow there's no water there under low flow conditions. And this upstream stream, again, as I stated, the Wetland Protection Act regulations in the definition of streams state that intermittent streams are jurisdictional if they're downstream of resource areas. So typically if they're upstream of resource areas, they wouldn't be considered jurisdictional. However, I did review the ordinance again, Meredith, when you brought up this afternoon that perhaps this rocky conveyance might be considered jurisdictional under the local ordinance. And I guess my assumption initially was just that the ordinance sort of deferred to the definitions in the Wetland Protection Act regulations, because intermittent isn't defined and stream isn't defined in the local ordinance, but obviously that's up to the commission. So perhaps this one is a bit grayer, but that would be my opinion.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That is helpful. Yeah, so when we were doing the site visit for the other project, we did look up here and note the sedimentation basin. I did see that. I've seen that side channel a few times and wondered what it was. Never seen any water in it. And we did not walk up to the northern side, so I didn't look at that other conveyance channel. Or I always find those channels so strange. If there's no wetlands, like what is it draining? But it's draining groundwater.
Yeah, I think it's like probably in this instance, it's like a seepage or, collecting watershed runoff during high, rain events.
Mm-hmm. Was there water in it when you guys flagged it, since we've had such a wet year?
So I think I just switched. Can you see the photograph now?
No.
No?
I saw it before. It did look like there was water.
In the lower reaches there was, but in the upper reaches there wasn't. Let me see if I can stop share and then reshare. I'll share the photo again. Here we go. Screen 2. I think this will work. Oh, I just forget to click the blue button.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep, so upstream, there wasn't any water, but yeah, downstream close to, find the closer, yeah. There's a little bit of water here, directly adjacent to the basin. I'm not sure if that was water that was backed up or because there was nothing coming down the watershed. This was in June. It was around June 15th. So even with the relatively, wet spring. It wasn't flowing at the time when we were out there flagging. So it's almost just like a little depression in the landscape.
Thank you. Meredith, you've given us 2 recommendations. Would they cover all the 3 sites that she's interested in?
I think so. Yeah, I was just having a hard time choosing which determination, because usually with these determinations, we have flag numbers to reference.
Right.
In this case, we could reference the plan, but I mean, we can't confirm the boundaries of the sedimentation basin because it's not flagged, but we can say the area is jurisdictional with a
Right.
+1. And then we could actually do 3. We could say, we could give the intermittent stream, we could refer to that as a +2A, which I didn't put on our notes, but
Because of the ordinance?
well, because they did flag the intermittent stream that leaves this basin.
Okay.
So we can confirm those boundaries. That was a really straightforward little channel that leaves the basin.
The discharge channel.
Yeah, and maybe,
channel.
I don't know if Jennifer could provide us with the flag numbers.
For the discharge channel, yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah, or at least I could just reference the plan. And I don't know what to do about the little,
Upstream.
yeah. I mean, it's not clear in our bylaw whether we would protect a channel that's not connected upstream to a bordering vegetated wetland.
Okay.
So yeah, and under wetlands protection, I would agree. This isn't technically jurisdictional, although it does look like a little nice jurisdiction. It does look jurisdictional, but if there's no wetland adjacent to it, then it's not. So it's like a
Right.
weird. But it sounds like they did the assessment and
Mhm.
our bylaw wouldn't really cover that stream.
So you would add 2A to our +1 and +2B?
Yes, well, and then I would have to refer to some sort of flag numbers for 2A for the intermittent stream leaving the basin.
But on the
That makes
plan that we,
sense.
on the plan that you have, the flag numbers are not on it?
They're not on it. They're just little black dots.
Oh, okay.
So somehow I have to refer to.
I mean, I can provide them, although I don't know if you close the hearing tonight, am I allowed to provide them to you after that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I just need to reference the plan that
Okay.
they're.
Well,
Okay.
we can put it as a condition of approval that we get the flag numbers.
Yeah, can do that.
Yeah.
I think.
So before you get your approval letter, we need those flag numbers to put into it.
Sure.
Okay.
Or if you just put them on the plan, then I can reference the.
Yes.
And
can
that
provide.
has
We can do that.
labels. They just need to be labeled. And
Right.
sorry, I should have. It didn't dawn on me till too late.
It's okay.
My
No
apologies.
problem. That's fine. We can easily provide that.
Okay, so any questions from the commission concerning this one?
Yeah, I do have a question. Jennifer,
Yes.
what is the point of this? Why
The
is
point-
the jurisdictional usage important to you?
I would say it's important to the commission because there have been some people who feel that because this basin is constructed, it shouldn't be jurisdictional, that it was built for this express purpose, and therefore it's not a natural wetland resource area. I didn't go into this when I was talking, but it was in the RDA, the regulations, the Wetland Protection Act regulations are pretty clear that even human-made basins can be considered as jurisdictional land underwater. So just because there has been some, disagreement is probably too strong a word, but there have been various people at the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission who hold different opinions about whether this any work that would affect the sedimentation basin should be a jurisdictional activity or not. So the purpose of submitting the RDA is really just to get a piece of paper on board so that everybody who may be involved in future projects or work at the treatment plant can refer to a common document that clearly states that the sedimentation basin is jurisdictional. So as I mentioned, there are a number of alternatives being looked at right now for changes to the water treatment facility, and some of them may no longer require that the water in the basin, water go through the basin to get into the water treatment plant. So there may, and I emphasize may because nothing has been decided, but there may be a thought that eventually the commission, the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission, might not want to continue maintaining the dam at the downstream end because it's an asset that they have to maintain. There's some risk involved. I think, you know, it's regulated by the Office of Dam Safety. So knowing the jurisdictional status of the sedimentation basin will help future decisions about how to maintain that dam or how to maintain any other water going in or out of the basin. Because if the commission agrees that it is jurisdictional, then the water levels in the basin, you know, can't be altered without going back and getting with a notice of intent to the commission.
I see. That's where I thought we were going with this, that we were going to decide, or you were asking us to decide if the basin was jurisdictional. And then you confused me when you started talking about 3 specific locations, the channels, there were 3 areas.
Yeah.
Why would we not just consider this a basin and answer the question, is it jurisdictional or not? Why are we doing it in 3 different parts?
Well, only because there are 3 waterways that are directly connected to it. So it just seemed appropriate to address them at the same time. That's all.
So the way that we're proceeding, we would be saying that the 3 areas of entry or whatever we call them are jurisdictional, and then that would make the basin jurisdictional also?
No,
So,
I think that,
again, why don't we just say the basin is jurisdictional?
that's fine. Yep. You can, the Conservation Commission can certainly say that. I think my point was also just that only because we're in front of the commission for the jurisdictional status of the basin, it would also be useful to confirm jurisdictional status of the streams that go directly in and out of it.
Yeah, perhaps both. On that first slide that you showed us, the topo, at the top, there was like one of the channels coming in was labeled non-jurisdictional.
Yes.
Who made that determination, and why aren't they making this determination?
That is AECOM's opinion, that it is non-jurisdictional.
Please say that again.
That's AECOM's opinion. So my company, AECOM, so our wetland scientist who went out and looked at the stream, in their opinion, that stream is non-jurisdictional. But it's up to the commission, you know, to make their jurisdictional status on the official determination. You know, so I mean, you could, I guess, choose to disagree with our opinion, but that is our opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, Meredith, I'm so pleased that you're up to speed on this, because I'm not, quite frankly. At this point, I would be considering hiring a consultant on their dime to give us a recommendation. Do we need to do that?
I mean, I don't think so. The only thing we could do, I mean, I could do a site visit. It's a really small area. It's a quick, it's not, this isn't like peer review material, I don't think. I mean, that didn't cross my mind based on the application that I read. And so this is, yeah, it is, I see how it's a little bit confusing. And the reason they're proposing it, so 3 different or 4 different resource areas. So we're confirming that the sedimentation basin is jurisdictional, and the sedimentation basin has 3 resource areas in and of itself, and then the streams have their own resource area. So that's why they're parsed out in 3 different sections, if you will. So to go back to the Rocky Conveyance Channel, I mean, the only way I can really say that's not jurisdictional is if I do a site visit and look at it and bring my auger and dig around. You know, AECOM is a very well-known company. They're they're a big company, and they've done tons of delineation. So I would trust them, you know. It's not like just any old person making this up. So the way it's presented, I would agree with AECOM, just because it's a nuanced thing in the Wetlands Protection Act that the way it's written, that these little channels, if they aren't draining a bordering vegetated wetland, then they're not considered jurisdictional. And I don't know why they wrote the Wetlands Protection Act like that, because I think they're valuable for water quality, for wildlife habitat, and, you know, it's draining groundwater. But AECOM is, I would agree with their opinion that it's non-jurisdictional based on the regs. And our bylaw doesn't specifically speak to these type of channels. So the best I could do is just go to a site visit and look at that area.
Yeah, perhaps I can go with you.
Do some chomping around. Okay. After all that. And then maybe, I mean, if we do continue it, then at least we can get the plan with the flags on it for the next time. If that would work for the Springfield Water Sewer Commission.
Okay, well, let's do that then. Now, one question. Under +1, it says the area described on the reference plan. Would that include everything? How do you describe the area? Which area are you talking about?
Yeah, it's almost like we need a plan that shows this plan, and then, because it's also bordering land subject to flooding. I mean, I can reference both the plans that were provided.
Okay.
Is that the one? Oh yeah, see the green is it indicating. So that was my thinking. If we were going to permit it tonight, I was going to reference both of these plans.
Okay.
But if we want to just have one plan with everything on it, that is always helpful, less confusing.
Can you make a determination on each of the 3 areas separately? The basin, the rocky area, and also the outfall? Or you just want to do it as one big area?
Oh, area. I mean, the area is just so nebulous. I don't know. I haven't come across this before.
Well, we need to think about this over the next couple of weeks, and as far as the language is going to be.
Yeah, there's just not the right choice for this.
Yeah.
You know, usually we're referencing, yes, we agree that these flag numbers for this.
Right.
We agree with the flags, and that's as per the wetland delineation plan. So this is a little bit different.
Okay, so
I've never approved bordering land subject to flooding either with a request for determination, because that's an elevation.
Right. So
Well, yeah,
is that
it's now, but there is no map. There's no BFE for this one, so it'll just be based on the picture really from the FEMA map. That's really what this is, because there is no base flood elevation to go by. The only other thing I was just gonna put out there is that, you know, the primary goal really is to determine the status of the sedimentation basin. So if it makes the commission, if it's easier or makes the commission more comfortable with just issuing a determination about the basin and not the streams that go in or out of the basin, I think for our current purposes, that would be satisfactory to the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission. So we weren't trying to confuse things by adding in the streams. It's just that they were out there and we saw them, and but really it's the basin itself that's of primary concern.
But unfortunately, I think since they're on the plan, we need to address those too,
Okay,
in the determination. So let's continue this and do a site visit and see if we can figure out what exact language to use for each of the 3 locations.
I'll give you that motion to continue until September 28th.
Okay. Let's first, any other comments from anybody else in the commission? Okay, seeing none. So go ahead with your motion.
Motion to continue until September 28th.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay. Jennifer, could you please stop sharing now?
yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. And can I just, are the site visits held on certain dates, or will it be determined, or will we communicate, Meredith? How do we figure out?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we can make a date that's good for both of us.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
Are you asking me how I'm voting?
Yes.
I'm going to vote yes.
Okay, Carl?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Cliff? Oh, Cliff's not here. Oh, so I vote yes. That's still 4. That's still a quorum. All right, thank you very much, Jennifer. We'll be in touch.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5, enforcement. We have none. Item 6, discussion. 34 First Street. A request to remove 5 trees outside the limit of work. Meredith?
Yeah, I keep a couple of these projects that we've already permitted, and then we go and do the pre-construction meeting, and there's additional trees that need to be removed because things of constructability, basically. So this one on First Street, it's actually right next door to the Masters property. You guys might remember it. It's a total demo of an existing home. And it's basically, I can show you some photos, but there's a bunch of trees that are really getting in the way of, accessing the property, and then they will be leaning over the house. So, and it's going to be a new house. So the homeowner does not want them. She would like to cut them, not stump them, so they don't fall in the brand new house, basically. But
So they're also in the buffer zone?
yeah, I mean, that whole property is in the buffer zone.
Oh, okay.
This is Hampton Ponds. Is that where we are?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, it's the one right next to Mr. Masters' property. See if I can get some photos here. Hold on. Share. You know, in a lot of ways, it's good that the applicant asked us before just doing it. So can you guys see?
Yes.
So Hampton Ponds is to the left. The pond is to the left. I don't think, did I take any? Let's see, those are some red maples kind of leaning over. This is is that a catalpa? I forget. I don't know if you guys recall, but there's this lot there's a house on it, and then there's part of the lot is completely forested, and they weren't doing anything over there. Oops. So let's see. So remember, there's an existing driveway that goes right down to the pond, and see how all these branches are hanging over? Well, they need to drive down there with big trucks, so they're going to be driving into the branches. Anyways, I was thinking we could allow it with some shrub replacements.
I guess we need to, so they can actually do the job.
I mean, they can't, yeah, they can't, they're going to be impacting the trees.
So they
Anyways.
couldn't just, for instance, trim the limbs off of those trees and keep the trees themselves, or would that not really be satisfactory?
I mean, that makes sense to me. They don't want the trees falling on their new house. in the end. So they're gonna be back before us, eventually asking for the trees to be cut down.
Other comments?
This is really, really close to the pond, right? I mean, it's like 5 feet away, 6 feet away.
No, these trees are, hold on, let me grab the plan.
Am I not seeing the pond right beyond the trees?
Yeah, but this is probably 20 feet from the pond's edge. It's not right on the bank.
Yeah, I guess my point is that they're providing ample shade on that. I mean, these are definitely shading the water, correct? They've got to be higher than 20 feet. I'm with Carl. I think we should take a look at it, or have them take a look at it and see if they can trim up the limbs if it is just the trucks they're worried about. As for it falling on the house, I mean, you know, take down all the trees then. Let's do away with trees.
I know. I mean, I can ask them if they can just trim them, and unless I don't know if they're here tonight. I did send them the information.
Yeah, otherwise have them come back with a new RDA.
Okay.
Other comments? Meredith, you've been out there to look at these trees?
Oh yeah, I looked at them multiple times.
Okay. And I mean, how close to the house are they? I mean, there's a driveway in between, correct?
There's a driveway in between, but they're tall trees. I don't know, maybe 50, 75 feet. So they're gonna be leaning over the new house. And I believe, from what I understand, the house is gonna be taller than what it is now. So they're like gonna be building into the branches.
Oh, okay.
I mean, one of them is a Norway maple, which is invasive, non-native anyways.
I guess I'm just, why weren't they discussed initially? I mean, I hate it. I'm disappointed when things are done in pieces rather than, if the house is going there, then they should have known they couldn't do that without taking these trees. And yet when we asked them if they were taking trees, they did not identify these trees.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it's now the burden. Yeah.
And as far as falling, Bob, my impression or my experience is that usually a tree will fall in the direction that it's getting sun, that it's getting light. I don't remember these trees, but I would reckon they'll probably fall into the water if they decide to fall at all.
Are they all healthy, Meredith? Are they fairly healthy?
I mean, they're kind of crowded in there. They looked okay. So there's the water down there. These are probably 10 or 15 feet. These maples, maybe 10 or 15. They're not on the bank at all. There's a giant oak that's kind of leaning into towards the pond. They're kind of leaning, they're pretty much up and down, but you know, the homeowners are very concerned. They're putting all this money into a new home and they don't want trees falling on it. And this is, you know.
I didn't see a blue X on the oak you referred to. Is there one?
No. There's no reason. It's leaning in towards the pond and it's not leaning towards that house.
Right.
Per se. So I don't know.
Bob,
You know, I'm having to meet with these people and try to explain to them that they didn't permit it this way, and they have, you know, I have a mother and a
Yes.
daughter arguing with me and saying that the trees are going to ruin their new home. So it's like, I don't know what to tell them. Besides, I'm going to bring it to the commission. It's up to you guys, and they're going to need to replant something. So maybe they could just cut the branches.
Let's find out. Let's ask them to at least explore that possibility.
Okay.
Bob, would you mind going out, taking a looking at it with Meredith? You're the arborist of the commission.
Yeah, I got no problem.
Would that be helpful, Meredith?
It would be helpful to have another person out there with me,
Yes.
trying to
Okay.
assess the constructability.
Okay, let's do that, if you don't
Okay.
mind, Bob.
No,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
I'll
Chair,
give you that.
Yes,
Do we
yes,
need to
Alex.
continue,
can I
David?
give you one thing before Tom makes that? Just,
Yeah.
I think we're headed on the right track. We permitted a job. I mean, if they got to trim branches to get equipment in, okay, I can see that as reasonable. If they suddenly want to take 5 more trees down because all of a sudden nothing changed on the site, like maybe there's some recognition now with the house getting laid out. I don't know, but that seems like a bigger issue and it's worth Bob looking at and Meredith looking at again. So, you know, I don't think we're out of line here.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate that, Alex. And one other thing, they already have a permit. Do I make them, oops. You know, do they have to file a whole nother RDA for this?
Yeah, I'm not even sure we necessarily can amend the way that we're talking about at this point.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll check. Have to circle
Tom, go
back.
ahead with your motion.
Motion to continue until September 28th.
All right, thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, Alex,
yes.
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Carl?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll vote yes. All right, item B, 0 Russellville Road. Another request to remove trees.
This is all we do now.
Yeah. Okay, this is the one that you and I have looked at a lot, Meredith, correct?
Yeah, we've been out there. This is the one on Russellville Road. I think we've all been out there. It's right on the Westfield Southampton border. So there was confusion over where to get electricity from. And apparently, I don't know if the homeowner is here tonight. I don't think so. Is Sergey Kafanov. So when they permitted the project, they didn't account for needing to get electricity from Westfield to their driveway, which is in Southampton. And I met with a guy from Westfield Gas and Electric, and he went over the options, and the best, least impactful option is just to go, I'd make a diagonal line through the wetland and take down 3 trees so they can install a pole from the road to the driveway. Actually, 1 tree already fell down in a storm. A giant red maple fell and smushed a bunch of dogwoods. So the request is to remove, that tree had 2 stems, so they would need to remove one of the stems that hasn't fallen, a dead tree, and then a small other tree to get the lines in place.
Meredith, this is the site that, real long driveway, and there was concern about silt leaving his property and crossing the road and filling the fire pond across the street. I got the
Yeah,
right.
yep. Yeah, we were out a couple of years
Right by
ago.
the driveway, there was a beautiful, beautiful oak tree. Is that one of the trees they would like to chop down? That was when we went to visit, that was my first concern. It's like, wow, your driveway's right here. And the owner promised me that tree was staying.
No, that's not one of the ones they want to cut down now. Although I can't remember if that one fell down. There's been a lot of, I think that one actually did fall down and it fell into the neighbor's
No.
property. But let me pull up some photos. Hold on.
This was a massive oak tree. If it fell, it
Yeah, it
would have.
yeah.
It didn't fall.
That's-
So how I got wind of this actually was a neighbor, I believe the neighbor's here tonight,
Yes.
emailed me and said they were doing some tree cutting. So then I contacted the homeowner and all this information came to light. So once again, I don't believe the homeowner actually, he didn't cut any trees in the BVW. He did some trimming, like a couple branches. So anyways, I think, Tom, is this the oak tree? Because
But I remember.
I don't know,
it was
but that was a maple. Anyways, a giant tree fell and went across the street into the neighbor's property with the pond. So let me just show you. He did put in his signs, you know, he has been complying. So this is a picture of the pole that they need to connect to. And then, oh, this is not a great picture. Hold on, that's one of the red maples that fell. Okay, so now you can see, there's a leaning tree. They want to remove that one. That's the red maple that there's two stems. This stem is leaning, the other stem fell. And then this is a dead tree that's holding up the red maple. And then there's a small sapling that is apparently in the way of installing the pole. So 3 trees. Okay, Tom, your oak, or I think that's a maple. Oh no, that's an oak. Still there. That's the one you were talking about. That's not proposed to be touched. So you can see I just hung like 3 flags, couple flags around the trees that the guy from Westfield G&E told me he would need to remove in order to get electricity to this property. So see this tree already fell, but it had 2 giant stems and one is now leaning. And this is the smaller one. And this is the dead one.
Okay.
So again, this one's a little different because it's in a wetland. Those other trees on the previous project's site are in a buffer zone. I was told this is the only option. You know, I asked DEP what we should do about this. They said, well, we should be provided an alternatives analysis. And the people from Westfield G&E, besides taking the poles down the road, which they can't go into Southampton with Westfield electricity poles. I was told this was the best, easiest option. So nobody else is here to talk through this with us, but
It looks like 2 of the trees are damaged and 1 is dead, correct?
yes.
Okay, so, you know, I guess, you know, using a picker or something, they could pull them out of the wetland carefully without destroying anything else. And just leave
That's
the
what I
stems
was thinking.
behind. Yeah,
Yeah, and they could even top them so that there's, you know, some standing dead trees, which is valuable for wildlife.
Mhm.
But just below the power lines.
yeah.
Or just cut them,
Yeah.
don't stump them and remove them. The trees need to be removed from the road and they need to be removed by a professional. Like the
Right.
homeowner this is not a job you do
Right.
with power lines there in a wetland. It has to be done with the appropriate equipment from the road.
Right.
Um,
Okay, any comments from the commission?
I hate to say it, but again, I think we're looking at a new RDA. I think we should ask the applicant to come back at us, and if this is going to go over and through sensitive wetland that we've been trying to protect, it should be more than just a discussion.
I mean, we could amend the notice of intent. I think that would be the route, amending the order. I just have to look into the regs and figure out how to do that. I
I
think
was
it's
not-
some,
Yeah, I wasn't aware we could do that. So if we can do that, sure, that's an option. I don't remember ever doing that.
yeah, it's a, yeah. We've done it, we did it once before. I can't remember the project, but I mean, that, you know, I forget, there's a couple things we have to do, like I think we notify the abutters. We might need to renotice it in the paper. And then we can open up the hearing again and make these changes official.
But you know, you can't,
David,
Permit
want to
the-
send, while
the NOI.
Bob's out, while Bob's doing the other site review, want to send him over here too? Hey, Bob, we got you tied up for the whole day now.
Okay, hey, yeah, I'm ready. Bring it on.
And this is a strange one. This is getting electricity. The property is pretty important to the project moving forward.
Meredith, how about if Bob and I join you on yet another site visit to this project?
My God, I'll send you guys there.
All right.
No, I'm happy to go. I love doing site visits. It's fine. Yeah, we can check it out. I'd really like to get the homeowner. I think he's only available on Mondays. So we'll do a site visit. I think that's the best.
all right.
And then figure out the appropriate regulatory pathway.
And from the G&E, that seems to be the only way to get electricity to the house.
Was my
Nope.
understanding from them.
They
Okay.
can't go underground?
Well, then they would have to dig through the wetlands.
Okay,
Oh, they don't, and I don't think they do that.
Okay.
I think they just do poles. I
Okay.
did ask, because a lot of the conduit from the house down the long driveway is underground, so the homeowner could actually take the electricity to the street, I believe. But I think then we should look at it when we're out there, but I think there's still trees along the street that would need to be removed to get another pole in.
And
I
he doesn't have frontage in Southampton. Is that the issue?
He has a Westfield address. And the driveway is in Southampton.
Hampton.
Yeah, driveway is in Southampton, but there's a Westfield address. So I said, why can't you get electricity from Southampton? And I was told he has a Westfield address, so he can't.
Oh.
Or it's
Okay.
more expensive, so I
Right.
don't know.
So let's do the site visit. Was there a neighbor who'd like to speak to this?
Yes, if I could, please.
Please state your name.
My name is Mona Freiberg. I live at 160 Russellville Road here in Southampton. And back to the pictures that you have of the trees. The one that he totally topped was a beautiful oak tree, and only one major branch was hit by lightning. We, as neighbors, we all noticed that, but he proceeded to cut down the other two branches that were not damaged in any way. And by the way, the trees that are on the front of that, let's call it the driveway section, belong to Southampton. So he's topping a tree that belongs to Southampton that he never should have touched. He should have called the town. Now, there have been other trees cut on this property without your permission. And he continues to do so, even though he's telling you, no, I'm not doing it. Why? He's building that house right behind mine. I hear the chainsaw all the time. So don't the other neighbors. He's continuing to cut. Now he's got an electrical cord and a hose that goes out to that brook. That's, as you guys call it, intermittent. Well, now he's taking water out of there and cleaning stuff in that brook. Doesn't make us happy.
All right, so I think a site visit needs to be looking at more than the trees.
Yeah, we'll inspect the whole property.
Unfortunately, yes, thank
Yeah.
you for your input.
Yeah,
Thank
Mona,
you very
thanks.
much. I appreciate you for listening.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so the motion to continue,
So moved.
a second,
Yeah, I'll second.
all in favor, Tom,
Yes,
Bob,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. Okay, next one is Wyben Road. Request certificate of compliance. Okay, it was issued but never recorded.
So it's motion to move on.
All right, so we need a motion to reissue COC for 333-506. Do you have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second that motion.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Carl,
Yes.
Tom,
yes,
Bob,
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
I'll vote yes, thank you. Item D, east of 65 Honey Pot Road. Ratify emergency certification for replacing culvert by the Department of Public Works. We have a motion to ratify.
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
yeah, just a quick question. So Meredith, this is one, the highway guys came to you, you looked at it and said it was okay, and now we're ratifying? Is that what's happening?
More or
has the work,
less.
has the work been done or not?
Yes, the work has been done.
Did you get a chance to look at it prior to the work being done? Isn't that something we should be concerned about?
They thought it was an emergency. It was after one of the last big deluge we got. The road washed out, and so it was a public safety hazard. The road was failing, so because the culvert was rusted underneath. And so when they called, they had already got going on it. I was able to get out there and see the work in progress, and I talked to them about construction methods. They let me know pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, at least they notified you, yeah?
Yeah, I'd like to see the sites before they start doing stuff, but I don't know. I don't know how else to, I think they know that. I just need to, I guess, keep reiterating.
And we're getting closer if at least they're telling you while they're doing it, rather than waiting before they're totally finished. Thank you. You've answered my question.
Okay.
Right. So Colleen, we do have a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor, Carl,
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Okay, same thing, north of 120 Honey Pot Road. Ratify emergency certification for stabilizing the washed out road and adjacent slope. Do you have a motion to approve?
I assume this is the same, Meredith.
It was, well, the same issue, yes.
Like in the same, they told you anyway.
They told me there is a lot of work happening on Honey Pot Road. So I went up there and looked, and sure enough, there was a lot of washing out and stabilization. And then I had some comments on this one they had already done. I didn't, and they were up doing the next thing. So I recommended it, installation of additional erosion controls, and they're just trying to fix problems. They're not going out of their way to do this work. I mean, this isn't fun for them.
Mhm.
They're trying to make the road safe. So yeah,
Okay,
same
good.
issue.
All right, thank you. All
I'll
in
give
favor,
you-
Carl?
Motion,
Yes.
Mr.
I don't
Chair.
think we got it. I don't think
I'll
we got
I'll
give you,
it.
I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Have a second?
Yes,
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Carl,
Yes.
yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes from July 27th. Go motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor, Carl,
Yes.
Yes,
Bob,
I was not there, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Alex,
Yes.
I'll vote yes as well. Thank you. Motion to approve minutes of August 10th to 2021.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor, Carl,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Okay, item 8, commission discussion. Anything on the regulations or procedures, Meredith?
No.
Okay, then item B, wetlands ordinance. So Meredith and I met with Shana Reed, the attorney, by Zoom earlier this week. Was that yesterday? I
Was
don't-
yesterday.
I don't remember now. So what I'd like to get from the commission today is a vote on the draft so that we can send it to her, and then she will send it, she will look at it carefully, and then if there's any corrections we need to make, we can do that. And then she's going to send it on to the mayor's office. So is everybody satisfied with what the ordinance looks like right now?
Yes.
I'm happy, and yeah, I'll be willing to make a motion that we send this forward.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Again, it's still in draft form, so we'll have a chance, once she looks at it, to make any changes we need to. It would then go to city council, to the L&O subcommittee, and they may make recommendations as well. And then it would go back to the city council for a vote, and then back to the mayor to be signed. All right, so all
So
in
if you-
favor? Yes, Meredith?
No, just, if you want to reread the tree replacement policy, it is kind of strict, or it's robust, I would say. So if people want to revisit that, we can still update it, but
Yeah.
Shanna will hopefully go over that and
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah,
Anyways, go ahead.
I'd like to get it moved on,
Yeah, we just got to move on, I guess.
because we did miss doing this 2 weeks or, last month.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think the tree replacement policy is reasonable, and we could always be flexible with that, but it does sort of give us a nice wall to stand on, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does help us have something in writing.
Yeah, and thank you for all your suggestions for,
Yeah.
for making it a more, to strengthen it, I think, for us.
Yeah.
Okay, Colleen, we have a motion and we have a second? We don't. I think Carl made a
Sorry, I
motion
interrupted.
Oh, you
Carl
did?
made a
Okay.
motion. I made a second.
and Alex made a second, yes. Okay, all in favor, Carl,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. So Meredith will send it on to Shana with an accompanying letter saying that we did approve the draft. And then we'll go on from there.
I just say I appreciate everyone's contributions, but Mr. Chair and Meredith, thank you for spearheading this and really driving it to this point. So
Here, here.
I think it's going to help us in the future.
It's a good foundation.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I agree.
It needed to be updated, I think, especially in regards to our 50-foot,
Mhm.
concerns.
yes, yep, absolutely.
All right. It is 9:05 and we're up to number 9. So a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a
I'll
second.
second.
All right. All in favor, Carl,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Thank you again. And thank you, Meredith and Colleen. And